what they call it, disconnect your social media. Because now they kind. Do what you did out there in that scrimmage and see what they do. They're gonna eat you alive. You got 12 days to get this thing together. 12 darn days to perfect our craft. 12 days. And some of y'all still trick-or-treat. Got on a costume. It ain't even Halloween. I know a football player when I see it. I know a coach when I see it too. And when we go out there, we gonna make sure we got at least 11 guys on the field at all times that want to play football, and we're gonna have coaches up there that really want to coach.
Yeah, bro, that was strong. Yeah. He basically told him, you're a room full of imposters. And I think that's big for Deion Sanders. Like you said in the meeting, like this is the first time he's taken the field without Shedeur Sanders as a college coach. This is the first time in 3 years you're taking the field without Travis Hunter as a college coach. And I think this is going to be a year where people are going to look at Deion Sanders and really try to evaluate and critique what sort of head coach he is. This is going to be the toughest year for Deion since he's been in Colorado.
A wise man told me a long time ago, look, head coach's job is not just to coach the players, it's to coach the coaches. And he didn't just limit that to the players.
Yeah.
He said, some of y'all out there trick-or-treating, got a costume on. And he said, talking about just the players. He called out the coaches too. Yo, he's serious right now.
College football is 72 hours away.
We dang near back at Halloween.
And the NFL season
They
is
stink
right
as
around
hell
the
in
corner.
them costumes, Greeny.
All right, let's play a game of Believe It or Not. Lewis Riddick will lead the way on these, and we'll see what we think. Lewis, if I said J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings are going to win the NFC North, believe it or not?
I believe it. Look, I have ultimate faith in the structure that's around him, starting with the head coach, moving down to the quarterback coach, to the position-specific skills that everyone has on this team, from inside out, the offensive line, the backs, the wide receivers. And look, JJ is just one of those guys who, to me, has like uncommon resilience and strength and a belief in his ability. I think he's going to have a hell of a year, a breakout type of year in 2025.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily know if they win the North, because I believe you look at Detroit, you think about Green Bay. It's such a difficult division. But the one thing we forget about J.J. McCarthy is he was one of the top quarterbacks in the country when he was recruited. Michigan just played football a certain way. Think about the way Kevin O'Connell has gotten quarterbacks to play to the top of their potential, all the pieces that surround him, including Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator. The Minnesota Vikings are going to be one of those teams that can contend for an NFC championship.
The infrastructure is the key. I mean, they are a well-run, well-operated organization, well-coached, top to bottom. Problem is, so is Detroit, so is Green Bay, right? Yep. So it's a tough sell in their division. But yeah, I believe in the infrastructure there. I believe Kevin O'Connell knows what he's doing. He'll get the most out of this player, and I don't expect them to drop off very much at all.
This name at the forefront of your mind. I say it every year. Josh McCown has to ascend. Yeah. This has to be his year, and this could be his year, especially if JJ, on the back of Sam Darnold, winds up having one of those years where we go, where the hell did that come from?
Working with the quarterback.
Yes,
Let me go to the AFC next, Lewis. If I were to say Bo Nix and the Broncos are going to dethrone Kansas City and win the West, believe it or not?
Look, this is a tough one for me, because you know how I feel about Sean Payton and how I feel about Bo Nix in this defense. I'm going to say not, because I think Kansas City's gotten better. I think Kansas City did everything they possibly could, especially when you're talking about addressing the offensive line. Josh Simmons is that dude. If he stays healthy for 17 games, Josh Simmons will be an all-pro, or he'll be a Pro Bowler at the very least. He'll protect Patrick. The running game is going to be stronger. The passing game is going to be legit. Patrick is motivated, and defensively, they are young and they've got depth. I think they will win the West again.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't go against Kansas City until somebody shows me that they're not supposed to be there.
Right.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes doesn't know what it feels like to be home before the AFC Championship. This is the team that is now understood, hey, if we protect Patrick Mahomes, that's when we get the best player in all of the world. Defensively, we know what Steve Spagnuolo can do with those different moving pieces. George Karlaftis has been extended. I think they're going to work on getting something done for Trent McDuffie. I love this team this year, and they are a better team headed into 2025 than they were 2024, and we act like they didn't just go out and win 15 games in the regular season.
There's no way that this winds up being the case, because things don't ever go the way we expect them to. All four teams in that division, I feel like, should get better.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh in his second year with the Chargers. I know they lost Rashawn Slater. That's a big loss.
Yep.
But I think they'll get better. Herbert will get better under him. The Raiders, I think, are going to be much better being run the way they are. Denver, we see ascending, and Kansas City does get better. I think it's the best division in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, you talk about, like, I like Denver too, but they finished 5 games behind the Chiefs last year, and the Chiefs handed them the last game. Right? So that, to me, is like there's a bigger gap to make up than I think that it's easy to get behind Denver. Bo Nix, a young player. Sometimes the progression with young players is not steady, right? So I think it's fun to like Denver, and you should. I just think it's a long way to go to say that.
And obviously, what makes you like Denver is who they are defensively, right? Bo Nix did have, to me, a rookie season where we continued to see him ascend and get better, but that defense is going to be top tier.
2 years ago, we were making fun of their defense. They gave up 70 points in a game, and here they are, just like that, and they're looking that good. All right, last one.
Yeah.
If I were to say the best rookie quarterback this season in the NFL is going to be Jackson Dart, believe it or not?
As much as I like Jackson, I'll say not. And I think it's because of the fact that, look, we just don't talk about Cam Ward enough. Look, we talk about him, but Cam Ward, I think, is uniquely positioned right now to be one of the number 1 overall picks that we wind up going, I see exactly why he was picked number 1 overall. I think he has transformational ability in terms of his effect on this organization. You hear the stories coming out of there about how he is challenging established veterans who I wouldn't challenge to anything. Okay, I ain't saying anything to Jeffrey Simmons, let alone push him in the back.
Ever.
You know what I mean?
Ever.
And this dude has no fear. He did it at Miami. It was a calculated move from Washington State to go to Miami because he knew people wanted to see if he could do it on the biggest stage. He is an alpha in every sense of the word, and the kid is super, super talented. And they've got some young pieces on the perimeter and an offensive line that they've invested a lot of money in and draft capital in. Tennessee's going to surprise. Brian Callahan, you've got a lot to work with. Yeah. And Cam Ward, I think, is going to have one of those seasons where we go, that's right. They made the right choice taking him number 1 overall.
Yeah, I think what we've done is we haven't paid attention to this kid's journey. Right, we haven't talked about the fact that he started at Incarnate Word and then he went to Washington State, and there were talks about him having the possibility to be a mid-round pick. But he understood, if I go to Miami, if I play on a bigger stage and I show that I can contend, I can compete there, I have an opportunity to be a first-round pick. And what I love about all the stories coming out of Tennessee is they're all about intangibles. They're all about how early he shows up for work. It's all about the way that he galvanizes his teammates, and now he's bringing in different guys to film studies. These are the things that you hear about some of the greats that have played the game, like the Peyton Mannings, like the Tom Brady. It wasn't all about what they can do with arm talent or measurables. It was about how they made people around them better based on the way that they approach their work.
Sounds like Jaden Daniels, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I love that about Cam.
I had a conversation with Brian Callahan last week about how he's bringing Cam Ward along. He said he's making it as tough as possible on him, right? Like they're giving him a 15-second shot clock in practice. They're dialing up blitzes and disguising blitzes, and like he said, make it as difficult as possible for him and see how he handles it. But he said, you have to know your guy, and we know when we draft him that this is the kind of guy that's not going to get beaten down by that he can handle that.
Yeah, that's important.
And that's obviously huge.
It's an unpredictable division. I think most people look down on the division, the AFC South. Houston has won it the last couple of years. You have Jacksonville with some of their questions, and up next we'll go to Indianapolis and some of their questions. The Colts are rolling with the man who's now known as Indiana Jones. Does that mean we have seen the last crusade for Anthony Richardson as a starter in the NFL? I'm not giving up on the Indiana Jones jokes.
He did make a lot of those movies. There's more to do.
Yeah, there are more of those jokes coming. I apologize.